SCOD01, a performance analysis of badminton. Over the course of several weeks, I participated in badminton games, which were all recorded. After each session, I analysed each game with the aim to identify weaknesses within my performance and improve on them. I would watch each game using a software called Game Breaker, and then use code windows to identify which areas and key performance indicators I would like to analyse and gather information on. Once I had coded the games would go into a timeline. I would then extract the data from the timeline into an Excel and create graphs, data to analyse my performance with. Over the weeks of this module, I used notation analysis to analyse my performance in matches and identify KPIs. Notation analysis is an objective way of recording performance so that critical events in that performance can be quantified in a reliable and consistent manner, as stated by Hughes and Bartlett. Quantitative information is match statistics which can be shown in graphs, diagrams. O'Donoghue and May state that quantitative information provided in game sports includes match statistics which can be presented in tables, charts, or special purpose diagrams of the playing surface showing the location of events. This shows that quantitative information can be used to create coaching sessions based on the graphs and diagrams, better preparing the performer for the future challenge and games they may play in the future. What is performance analysis? Performance analysis within sport is the recording of events in a match or training environment, to then watch back and identify strengths and weaknesses within the performance. This is done using code windows whilst watching the games back. Once the coding is complete, you can then extract the data into Excel and begin making your judgments on the performance, and then begin to implement the findings into a training or coaching program to improve on weaknesses. Overall, the main aim is to provide athletes with advanced feedback to help improve performance. O'Donoghue states that sports performance analysis is primarily used in coaching context to provide feedback to players, helping them to direct training activity and enhance their performance. The aim of performance analysis. The aim is to improve my own badminton performance, identifying weaknesses in my performance and identifying KPIs, key performance indicators, to use as a means of improving my performance. After each game, I would analyse my own performance. Winkler's model states that there should be clear aims and purpose to any observation and analysis that takes place, so that their areas for improvement can be identified, as you cannot identify areas for improvement statistically whilst watching everything all at once. This is key so that coaches can effectively place the information gathered from analysis into the coaching process and develop sessions around the athlete's weaknesses. The overall main aim of all performance analysis is to make coaching sessions more focused and help advance the coaching process. As cited in Frank's model, the role of performance analysis is to give feedback based on a more systematic and objective analysis. The information produced by performance analysis includes quantitative information. Key performance indicators, known as KPIs. Tactical KPI is the ability to perform a skill effectively whilst trying to play out a strategy to beat an opponent. For example, forcing the opponent to the back of the court using an overhead clear and then playing a drop shot whilst they're still at the back of the court. A technical KPI, an ability to perform a skill effectively. For example, the smash. A psychological KPI, a state of mind that you enter the match with, a positive or negative thoughts in one's own head. Physical KPI, the physical capabilities of an athlete, for example, the ability to get around the court with speed or the fatigue levels. Performance indicators are not just some aspects of the game, they must be a key aspect of the game. Sampao and Light say that performance indicator is not another designation for variable, because not all variables are valid measurements of important aspects of sports performance, whereas performance indicators are by their definition. This shows that all KPIs must be relevant to performance in hand and be able to be implemented into the coaching process once analysis is complete. The first KPI which I chose to analyse was technical and was unforced errors. I chose unforced errors as one of my KPIs, as after playing my first game and reflecting upon it, I identified that it was one of my glaring weaknesses and thus needed improvement. I also found literature to support that unforced errors are a sound key performance indicator, as O'Donoghue, Gerard and Reed state that the percentage of unforced errors is a valid performance indicator in all racket sports when the data is reliable. Over the weeks, I found that I was making considerably more unforced errors than my opponent was making winning shots. For example, in the first week of shots conceded, 76% were unforced errors. In the second week, 67% were unforced errors, and on the third week, 55% of my points conceded were unforced errors. This clearly shows the effectiveness of identifying weaknesses within my performance. I used the data to go to each match, intended to keep the rally going for as long as possible, until I had a clear opportunity to win the points, as opposed to trying to win with the more difficult shots, which I'm not capable of. The next KPI I chose to analyse was again a technical one, which was winning shots. I selected winning shots as a KPI, as identifying how I win most of my points is a key and vital aspect of winning all games and overall improving my performance. Once again, whilst reading about sports analysis, I found that Hughes and Bartlett say winners and errors are powerful indicators of technical competence and have often been used in research in notation analysis of net and ball games. So therefore, I chose winning shots as one of my KPIs. As you can see in my pie charts, most of my winning shots were from the smashes and overhead clears. So after the first week, I identified this as one of my strengths and began to utilise what I had identified as one of my strengths. I also tried to limit the use of my backhanded drop shot, as they won me few points. As you can see over the weeks, my plan to use more smashes and overhead clears worked, as progressively I won more smashes and overhead clears, as you can see in the pie charts on the screen. The next KPI I chose to use was a tactical KPI. I chose to identify shots used as a KPI, as it covers the whole game, the whole of my gameplay, and allows me to develop my game strategy based on stronger shots and weaker shots. Over the weeks, I analysed each session and noticed a pattern in my play. When I was hitting overhead shots and smashes, the majority were going back into play and continuing the rally or even resulting in me winning the point directly from them. As opposed to when I used my backhand and drop shot, most of these shots would hit the net or go out, and even if they did not hit the net or go out, they would result in me losing the point and put me on the back foot in the rallies. In both games I analysed, the smash and the overhead clear accounted for over 60% of the shots I used. O'Donoghue states that tactical evaluation has typically used observational analysis as an indirect way of analysing tactical decisions made on broader strategy used by teams and players. This shows how identifying a player's best strategy can be implemented in the coaching process as you develop training sessions around creating their strongest strategy out of their strengths. O'Donoghue states that tactical analysis is concerned with the decision to select skills rather than other options that may have been available in the given situation. This shows that it is key to utilise the shots you're more capable with, for example myself, using the overhead clear and the smash as opposed to any other shot, because they are my strengths. The next KPI I chose to use was where on the court I won my shots with, winning shot placement, and again it's a tactical KPI. I chose to use this KPI as I wanted to identify where I won most points from, so that I could identify a game strategy to win more points. From my analysis, I found that the majority of points I won were placed at the back of the court in the two areas of the court, number 3 and 4 if you see on the screen now. This then enabled me to use the data to go into future matches and know where to smash the shot to get my best results and to win more points. If I was to put this KPI into the coaching process, I would create smashing drills and targets at the back of the court to ensure all of my smashes go to the back of the court unless the front of the court is completely open and the opponent is placed at the back. The main reason for choosing this KPI is that it uses... The final KPI I chose to use was game strategy. My main reason for choosing this KPI is that it uses everything which I've previously covered and uses it in one. When creating a game strategy, I need to identify all of my strengths and all of my weaknesses, and create a way to minimise the use of my weaker shots and maximise the use of my stronger shots. On the last week of matches we played, I implemented a game strategy which was to force my opponents to the back of the court using the overhead clear, and then once the opportunity arose, I would smash the ball directly towards the back of the court, as these were all of my strengths, utilising one game strategy, minimising the use of my weaker shots. O'Donoghue states that the tactical analysis is concerned with the decision to select the skill rather than the other options that may have been available in the given situation. coaching points for future. To improve my performance in badminton, I would take all of my collected data and create a coaching plan to improve all of my weaknesses so that I would have a more well-rounded game. I would put performance analysis into the coaching process so that after every match, creating my coaching plan, I would analyse the game and identify where I need to improve. Carling states that the performance analysis is not just about analysing matches and games, it's essential in the training programme to help coaches improve players' performance. The following figure shows the coaching cycle. Another reason why the performance analysis is key to a effective coaching process is that it reduces the observer bias and increases the quality and quantity and accuracy of the information. It also allows the coaches and performer to review footage and offers different forms of feedback, as stated by Haynes in 2013. Finally, the issues with performance analysis. There are a variety of issues with performance analysis. One of them is the validity of notation, as what you're analysing must be necessary to benefit the performer. O'Donoghue states that performance indicators must be valid and represent some relevant and important aspects of sports performance. If a variable is meaningless statistic, then is a meaningless statistic that nobody understands and nobody cares about, it cannot be valid. Another issue with performance analysis is the reliability of the data recorded. As for the data to be effective with coaching, it must be accurate. O'Donoghue and Longville argued for the importance of reliability in performance analysis support work. This is because important decisions about team and player preparation are made using this information. So therefore, reliability of the data produced is key so that each KPI should be analysed more than once to get effective results. I'd suggest using it twice to get the best results. The final issue of performance analysis is objectivity, which is that when analysing the data, you are unknowingly biased towards a player and making the data invalid. O'Donoghue states that objectivity means that there is some definition or guidance for measuring sports performance variables so that variables are free of subjective judgments of others. As long as all performance analysis stick to this, there should be no bias in the data. However, there are issues with objectivity as shown by Gerard, O'Donoghue and Reed, who say that some errors may appear to be unforced, but observers need to take into consideration the quality of the shot that the player is trying to return. This is key as all analysts have different views on what's an error and what's a winning shot. Although this can be okay as long as all analysts stick to the same perspective throughout analysis and do not sway from it.